right, so I'm back and I wanted to do another video. So, if anybody doesn't know, I talk about narcissists on here along with I do rants on different things that interest me or don't interest me. Um, I talk about movies, I talk about um, really anything that is going on that I find to, that I want to talk about. Um, I do talk about movies. I talk about TV shows. I'll talk about anything that I'm watching at this, specific time. Mostly I talk about narcissists and I will talk about my own experience with them. I will go on and tell, and give my experience with them and also along with facts and other information about narcissists. I know of them because I've dealt with them pretty much my whole life. When I was younger, I attracted narcissists. When I was in my 20s, 30s, um, I no longer because I know what a narcissist is now. But when I was younger, I always, for some reason, I attracted them. I attracted them and they were attracted to me as well. And I kind of know why now. But in this video, I want to talk more about closure and all that pertains to closure. In my previous message, I talked about the reasons why narcissists don't give closure, and I talked about how difficult it was. Why is it so hard? Why is it so difficult, right? Like you would think that after being in a relationship with someone, that they should be mature enough to validate you and the relationship, right, and give closure, right? So, as in my last message, I talked about no, they don't. Another thing about closure with a narcissist is a closure that a narcissist is going to have to acknowledge you first, right? And a narcissist is going to have to acknowledge that they had a relationship with you, that they were in a relationship with you, that, you know, that you spend time, right, together. And a lot of times narcissists don't want to have to do that. Like I've always said in these messages, right? Narcissists are on to the next person. So, for instance, if you're breaking up with your narcissist, say June 15th, you break up. By June 25th, they're gonna be dating and probably on to their next prey, on to their next supply. So here you are, kind of like upset and hurt. You're gonna take some time to like process your feelings, whereas your narcissist is already off to the next person. Okay. So as far as you getting closure from them, the narcissist is already on to someone else. Okay. Most of the time, the narcissist knows who that person's going to be before you even break up. Because narcissists will always have people in the background that they're talking to. That's why they go on dating sites. That's why they go to bars. That's why they go to these places because they're looking for people that they can kind of condition to be a possible source of supply. Also, narcissists use their exes as narcissistic supply as well. A lot of times they use them to triangulate them with their new supply source. Okay, they do this all the time. So here you are looking for closure, and your narcissist is already in a relationship with somebody and on to the next one, and they're no longer caring how you feel because they think that this new source is going to be all that and a bag of chips, and they turn out to be really bad. And then, that's what happens. So then, like, oftentimes when the narcissist finds himself single, they will try to hoover back to you. Okay. And that's when things can get pretty ugly if you're smart. And the thing is, you can't let them come back. But like I said, in order to give closure to someone that you're breaking up with or that you broke up with, first of all, you're going to have to acknowledge that relationship. You're also going to have to acknowledge that you were a part of the breakup, because it's never just one person's fault when you break up. It's relationships are two-way streets, not one-way streets. And the narcissist is not big enough to actually admit that they're wrong, that they fucked up, excuse my language, but that's the truth, that they messed up. And they're not going to do that. They're not going to admit any faults. That's another reason why they don't give closure. They also don't want to give closure because they may want to use you in the future. So they don't want to give away anything too much and tell you what they're doing. They don't want to give you too much information, because what if they want to come back in the future to future fake some more with you, to use you a little bit more? Now, especially if you were a good source of supply to them, they may want to return at some time in the future to feed you a line of bullshit, to use you some more. Because if you were a good source of supply to them, they're still going to want to use you, okay, if they become single. So they will lie to you. They will love bomb you. They will tell you that they still love you, that they always loved you, that they never stopped loving you, that why did you do what you did to me? They're gonna come across like they're the victim, like you broke up with them and like literally you devastated them. All a bunch of bullshit. Let me just tell you, this is what they do. They will turn it around. They'll flip it around to make it seem like you were the one that hurt them. Okay, but the whole time it was definitely not that way. Um, they're like shapeshifters. These people, they really are. Like they're and then they'll make you feel guilty. Like they will. Like as they're telling you this sad story, they will make you feel really guilty about it. And then you'll actually think, wait a minute, maybe it was me. They'll make you second guess yourself. Like, wait, maybe I was the problem. Maybe I did do wrong. Maybe I did do. And they're going to make you feel that way because they're very good at making you feel guilty about the choices that you make, when they don't ever talk about, well, what brought you to that point? When you break up with your narcissist, they don't really talk about, well, what brought you to break up with them, right? Like, what was going on right before you broke up? What were you fighting about? What was going on? What was the issue? Right? They don't ever talk about that. They won't bring that up. They just don't. They will flip it around that they were so devastated over the breakup and they didn't want to be with anyone for a while. And for them, a while is literally like 2 weeks, okay? So don't believe them. They lie through their teeth. They're always the victim in every single instance of anything. They're always the victim. They never are going to admit any kind of blame or fault. So these are all reasons why you don't get closure from a narcissist, okay? They think you're stupid and they think that you're not going to catch on to this or that you're not going to know. If you've been dealing with your narcissist for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, then you should really know this. But yes, that's what they do. Um, for me, I had to get closure through my own, you know, my own source. I had to do it myself. I had to do it, through my own peace of mind and in knowing, that what was going on wasn't right and wasn't normal. And I knew that he was never going to admit any of the downfalls. He was never going to, admit cheating. In fact, they will continue on that same BS story that they told you the whole time. They'll be like, I never cheated on you. Why would I ever cheat on you? Like, I have no reason to cheat on you. Why would I ever do that? When the whole time you know that something wasn't right. Maybe it wasn't full on cheating with, you know, sex or anything like that. Maybe it wasn't intimate or physical, but they were doing something weird right behind your back. Like right before you break up with them, something is definitely a foul. Something has gone afoul. You know that, right? Something is definitely off with these people. So you're, your initial reaction is going to be, maybe they're cheating. Like, maybe, what are they doing? Like, they're not with me. Like, what are they doing? So these are just gonna be like natural things that you're gonna think about. Like, could they be cheating? Would they be cheating? Even for me and my ex narcissist, I never had full on any proof, okay, that he was cheating. I mean, sexual cheating or intimately cheating. I never had that. I never got any real proof on that. And I don't believe that he was. I don't believe that my ex narcissist was full on cheating in a sexual way. No, I don't think so. He wasn't that kind of guy. Um, he really wasn't like that. I mean, I don't know. I can't say for sure. I don't think that he was though, but he was definitely doing something that was weird because you could just tell. You just know. You look at the movies. Okay, so let me just tell you this. This is with or without a narcissist, okay? This is just not a narcissist cheating, okay? This goes for anybody cheating, any person, not just a narcissist. When you're dating somebody, you know your partner's taste in music. You know your partner's taste in movies. You know your partner's taste in food, right? You know what they eat. They eat kind of like the same kind of thing. And all of a sudden that will start changing. They'll start eating like foods that they never used to eat before. They're going to start watching movies. And you'll see it on their TV. Like, you never used to watch this. What's this stuff? And it's like something like really foreign that you would never even think about watching. Weird stuff's gonna start like appearing. And you're like, this isn't even what we watch. Like, what the hell is this? Right? You go to their watch list and you're like, what is this? This is weird. They'll start like watching really odd TV shows and movies that they've never watched before. They'll start eating different food that they've never eaten before. They'll start liking foods that they've never eaten before. And you're like, this is weird. They think you're stupid. They really do. They think that you're not going to catch on, that you're not going to notice. And, this is how you have to make your final decision. You have to, it's like being a lawyer, right? You have to go on evidence, right? So, I went on the evidence that I had at the end of that relationship that, yes, I would say that he was. Whether or not it was full on sex, I don't know. It doesn't matter now. It's been so long. I don't care what he did. Um, but don't put it past them because they will. They will. They definitely will be talking to people behind your back that you don't even know exist. They will be doing this behind your back. Okay. Um, and a lot of times it's people that that are just, you wouldn't even imagine. It's like really out there. So don't put anything past a narcissist. And when I mean nothing, I mean literally nothing. Because they are, they will do anything. Like, don't say to yourself, oh no, they would never do that. They're not that kind of guy, or they would never be with someone like that. They will be with anyone. When I say anyone, I mean anyone. 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 And I've spoken with a few people, through people that I've met on here, who have also had videos, done videos, commented on videos, who had very similar stories as mine, um, with their narcissist, ex narcissist, whatever. And it is true. Um, so I'm trying to think, in my last video, I talked about the disappointment that comes with it. You know, there is disappointment and you're going to be let down, okay? Because if you're waiting for your narcissist to give you closure, it's probably not going to happen, okay? If it's been more than 3 to 6 months, you're probably not going to have it. I would not continue to look for it. You're going to have to find it yourself, and you have to find it through a lot of looking inward, like really looking inward, and like just knowing that, you know, there was nothing more you could have done, like you did what you had to do. That's it. You did your part and it's over. It's up to them. They don't want to do it. They don't want to give you the closure. Then that's it. You know what I mean? You have to just move on. And moving on from a narcissistic relationship is difficult because you have all these unanswered questions. You have a lot of confusion. You have a lot of, what the hell was that? Like, was that real? Like, was that, like, what is that? Like, you're going to be dumbfounded, shocked, weirded out. You're not going to believe how cold they could be to you, how heartless they can be to you. When I mean heartless, I mean heartless. You're not going to believe it. You're going to be like, this is not the same person that I was with, because they do like this complete 360. I talked about narcissists having multiple personalities, and they kind of do. They change very easily. They're like a chameleon. They change into, depending on who they're hanging out with. So if they're hanging out with, say, Joe over here, they're going to be into one thing. Now, if they're hanging out with Dave over there and Dave's into something completely different than Joe, he'll be into that. They change their personality and their likes depending on who they're dating, depending on who they're with, depending on who their friend is at that moment. It depends on who they're talking to, and that's how they are with dating too. So, if you're somebody who's into healthy eating, jogging, um, I don't know, yoga, they're gonna be like, I love yoga. I love healthy eating. Let me start doing this. And they're going to start on a completely different food pattern that you were like, you don't like that. You never used to eat this. They change depending on who they're dating. And not just in a slight way. Like, let me give you an example. It's not just like, well, like one of my ex boyfriends was really into fishing. Okay, he loved fishing, as do I. I love fishing. I love everything that has to do with fishing. I love going out and going on the boat and going fishing. I do, but only to a certain degree. I mean, you know, I don't love to do it every day, every weekend. I'm not like that kind of person with fishing. I enjoy it on a nice day. It's cool. It's great time spent together. It's quality time spent together. It's exciting, but it's not something that I want to do all the time. Not really. And a lot of times too, if it's not just you and him, you gotta, they bring their friends, and it's like this whole big thing, and it's like, you know, but it's not so much as if it becomes my hobby. No, it's something that he likes to do. And I kind of let him do it by himself. I'll go once in a while, but not all the time. And with the narcissist will literally become like a guru of fishing. Like he would become like really into it. It's like, you don't even like this. Like, what the hell? This is what they're like. Like, I'm trying to give like examples, whether it's food, whether it's a certain pastime, whether it's a certain team, whether it's a certain anything. You'll be like, you don't even like that. Like, you don't even watch this. Like, what are you talking about? They change. They're like chameleons. They change depending on who they're with. I have watched the entire personality change within seconds, depending on who was in that room. I've watched it. I've seen it happen, and it's crazy. Now, at the time, I didn't know that was happening, but I was like, wow, that's really weird. Like, that's odd, right? That's how they are. It's uncanny. It really is uncanny, but that's what narcissists are like. They're good actors. They're very good at pretend. They're very good at acting and kind of bending. They're very good at bending and kind of like being very flexible into what that person's into. They will all of a sudden be into that as well. It is weird. It's really weird, but it's true. It's what they do. Um, so yeah, I mean, as far as like being disappointed, yes, you are going to be disappointed because you're not going to ever get that closure. You're never going to get that validation of what really did they do in the relationship and what the fuck was that. You're never going to get that. Okay, you have to just accept the end is what happened, and you broke up with him for those reasons, and that's it. They're never going to come clean. They're never going to admit their downfalls, their mistakes. Never. They're never going to do that, and you have to be okay with that. And I think that's what a lot of times people get stuck on, is that the final step into accepting that you're not going to get that closure. Then you're not going to get it. Um, and that could last for a while. That step of being completely free and clear of them, that wanting of that closure at the end, you're not gonna. You have to really accept that you're not gonna get it. Um, for me, like I was disappointed for a little bit there. I kind of I got my closure through seeing him again. Is how I really got my closure. And I talked about this, after 4 years of the silent treatment that he gave me, I finally was able to catch up with him again, and I was able to get closure through seeing him again is what really gave me that closure. Um, and then I had to really look at the situation for really what it was and kind of accept that I wasted all those years. And you do feel regret, like it's real. The regret you feel is real because after, you spent 10 years, 9 years, 15 years with somebody, 5, and you realize it was all for nothing, it meant nothing. You leave that relationship with nothing, no validation at all. It is hard. It definitely, it's a difficult thing to go through. It really is. Luckily, as I said before, I didn't have kids with him. That would have really sucked balls. Excuse my language, but it would have. That would have really been bad. And I definitely escaped that jail sentence because that's what it would have been. Um, but no, I mean, you will feel disappointment for a bit there because you're gonna feel a little sad, upset about the time that you wasted. You're gonna blame yourself. You're gonna say, "I was so stupid. Why did I do this? Why didn't I see it?" And everyone around you, we told you. Like everybody was. This is the thing. Everyone's like, "We told you," and everybody did tell me. That's the sad part too. Is that once it's all over and done, your family, your friends, anyone who knows you, and that narcissist would be like, "Well, I've been telling you for 10 years to break up with him. We've been telling you that they didn't care. We've been telling you," and then you're gonna feel even more dumb because they did. They really did, and you're kind of stuck. You're kind of stuck having to take the blame that it was my own doing. Um, I had a friend of mine at this time, me and him were very close, and he knew all about my relationship with him. He'd be like, if you go back with him, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. And he literally said to me, during one of our breakups, we had broken up for like a few weeks. And what I used to do was I used to move in and out of his house because we had such a volatile relationship. Like one minute we were getting along great, the next minute I was leaving at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was out of there. And one of my really good friends at the time, he would say, "What are you doing?" He would call me all the time, leave me voicemails, and he goes, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm leaving," and he's just like, "It's 2 o'clock in the morning." I'm like, "I know, but I'm getting the hell out of here. I can't stand him. I have to leave." And I would literally move out at 2 o'clock in the morning. I would do this. Um, my good friend who knew all about my relationship with him, like, look, I have to tell you, if you go back with him, I can't continue to talk to you anymore. I'm like, why? He goes, because it's fucking crazy. Like, why can't you just stay broken up with him? And I'm just like, and I would always swear up and down, this time I'm not going back. This time I am not going back. I swear to God, you got to believe me. It's over. This time it's for good. I will never go back. You're not going to believe what he did. And I would go on and on and on. And 2 weeks later, I would be back. And I couldn't tell my one friend because I knew that he would be pissed off at me if I told him I was back there. This is the addiction that you feel when you're with a narcissist. It's literally like an addiction. And he would always find me, "You're not home, are you?" And I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "It doesn't sound like you're at your house." And I'm just like, "No, I'm not." And then he would get pissed and he'd get mad at me. And it was like this big thing. And this is the kind of craziness that you're going to be subjected to with a narcissist because it's kind of like you're split down the middle. Half of you knows that you don't belong with this person, but this other half of you can't help it. And it's like an addiction to chocolate. Like if you love chocolate, like I know me, I love chocolate, and I sometimes I can't stop eating it. Or anything that you really love eating or drinking or whatever, that's what it's like. you want to stop, but you can't. And that's what it was like with my narcissist. I knew he was not right for me. My instincts knew that, but I couldn't stay broken up with him for that long because it was like an addiction and it was hard. Um, but yeah, like after the smoke clears and everything settles down, you're going to feel disappointed. You're going to be disappointed in yourself that you let yourself kind of get duped by somebody who didn't really have your best interest at all and was only using you for the time being, feeding you a lot of lies. Like, do I think this person loved me? I think that he did in the very beginning. I do. I think for a few years he may have had real feelings, but I don't believe that they were lasting. They weren't lasting. They were like most likely sexual. I don't think that that was real. It definitely wasn't true love. No, it wasn't unconditional love. No, but I think that he did kind of care in his own way. And that was only in the very beginning, maybe the first few years. And that definitely didn't go on for that long, maybe 2, 3 years. Maybe 3 years max. 4 years, like I said, maybe, but no more than that. Because after like the fifth year, the devalue sets in. In my case, it did, and you really feel the lack of. um, so yeah. Um, as I said before, I just couldn't do it. I ran into an ex-boyfriend of mine. I spoke about that in my last video. I hadn't seen him in years. Like, I hadn't seen him in like 20 years. Yeah, probably about 20 years. 17, 18 years. I hadn't seen him. And he was like, he wanted to know about me. He's like, are you single? You're not married? And he was like amazed that I wasn't married. I'm like, I'm not married. I was engaged to somebody, but it didn't work out. And I told him a little bit about the relationship. I told him, and it had been like towards the end of that relationship. So I told him what was going on. He was like, why did you stay with him so long? Like, what was wrong with you? Like, why did you stay with him? He was really disappointed in me. He's like, I thought you were smarter than that. Like, you've always had a good head on your shoulders, man. Like, what's wrong? Like, what happened? And I'm like, I don't know. I couldn't even explain it to people. I was so messed up and just, I think overly just tired of the trouble and the struggle that when the smoke cleared, I just wanted time to be alone. That's why I did not go into another relationship immediately afterwards. I waited 2.5 years. I just I didn't want to be with anyone. And this is somebody who knew me pretty well. This is somebody, my ex-boyfriend knew me pretty good when I ran into him. He was like, what, why? Why did you stay? Like, I'm like, I really don't know. And I couldn't, and even now, when I talk about this, I don't have answers as to why I stayed. All I can say, truthfully, is that at the time, I did not know that was a narcissist. And I truly had feelings for this person, genuine care and feelings. And I think that's why I did. I feel like I also didn't want to give up because I already invested so many years with this person. I invested so much time and sweat into his house, into working on it and doing things with him in the house. I had, I thought that, well, maybe it was just a bad time right now. Maybe things will get better. I didn't know. I really don't know. When I think back to that time, um, I can't say why I stayed with my narcissist all that time. Like I said, I was split in the middle. I was like, part of me knew that it was a dead end, but part of me just didn't want to give up and throw in the towel. And I'm not one to give up. I'm really not. Especially if I love somebody, I really never give up on them. And at the end of that relationship, I was forced to basically break up with him because he became so miserable to me and nasty to me. And just overly rude and with the insults and the put downs and horrible, horrible, horrible treatment. Um, really weird stuff, like strange too. I was like, this is weird. I just mentally I couldn't take it. And when I broke up with him, I really meant it. The last time we broke up was the last time, and I was done. Um, but it took a long time for me to be done. It did. It took a long time. Um, I am a pretty strong person. I'm pretty resilient, and I put up with a lot. Um, and I think, like I said, at the time, I didn't know that he was a narcissist. I thought that this was just who he was. I knew something was off, and I used to make excuses a lot of time, but I never really knew what it was. And I think a lot of that was like just a lot of confusion, a lot of not knowing and just staying confused. And I stayed confused for many years after that breakup. I did stay confused. I met other people, of course. I moved on with other guys, of course. But I never quite understood him. I never understood anything about that person. You think when you're with a narcissist, they always seem like a stranger, right? Like you never really know them. You never feel close to a narcissist. You never feel that close feeling with them. There's always like this wall that's there. You never really know a narcissist because they're very secretive and they don't tell you everything about what they do or their past. So you never really get to feel that closeness. And I never felt that with him. It always felt like I was a million miles away from him. And he never felt close to me either because it just was weird. It was just weird. Um, Much different than other relationships I've been in where you actually feel connected. Like I never really felt connected to my narcissist. It always felt like we were disconnected. I don't know. But these are all signs. Everything that I'm talking about here are all signals and signs that your relationship is not is off. Um and really once time passes, after years pass, after 5 years pass, 8 years pass that you've been broken up with your ex narcissist, you'll see it much better. You'll see it much clearer. And you'll realize like that couldn't have been love. That was not love. Whatever it was that I felt for him, I don't believe that it was love. I believe it was some kind of weird addicting quality that takes over your if you are an addictive person that you can become addicted to stuff like I could. If I like something, I can't stop eating it. Like if I like I said, chocolate is like my favorite thing. Certain things that I like to eat or drink, I can't stop. I will continue to do it despite the repercussions, okay? Um I was the same with him. As even though I knew he was not good for me in any way, it was very hard for me to leave him. It was hard for me to break up. It was so difficult. It was painful. Like even when we used to break up for like a week, it would be like a year. It was bad. It was bad. And it was just like this weird addictive thing. It and I talk about it, it felt like you were addicted to a drug, like a really heavy duty like, you know. So I don't know. That's what it was like. But after years pass and you get a better grip on what you went through, on how it was so dysfunctional, really, but that's being nice, calling it dysfunctional. You get a better idea of who they were. And then you start to see that you deserve better, that you never should have been with them in the first place. You start to date other guys who do value you, who do love you, who do give you compliments and tell you that you're great and that you're pretty and that you're beautiful and all these other great things about yourself. You're smart, you're intelligent, you're this, you're that, you're funny, you're this. And you start to gain your confidence back. Okay. But that takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. You're going to have to look deep inside to get over that. And it will happen. You will move on. You'll find other people who will treat you like gold. I am with someone now who spoils me to death with everything, no matter if it's love, attention, talking, communicating, anything. You know, whatever my heart desires, he gives me. And that's the way it should be. I think every woman should be treated like that. Every woman should be treated like that. And you just have to, luckily I didn't get stuck with him. God forbid I ended up with having kids with him. That I would have been stuck there or stuck with him, and that would have really sucked. Because I would have never met the great people that I have met after him. Because I've dated a lot of good people. Like the guy I'm with now is awesome. I, I dated a couple other guys, after him that were really, really cool too, and that were great to me. I'm so happy that I have them in my life, or that I even met them. So it all happens for a reason, and you have to understand that everything happens for a reason too. Okay, don't try to like make yourself stay, or when the signs are there that this person's not for you, you got to get out of that. Okay, don't stick around. When someone's not for you, you got to go. Okay, red flags waving, you got to go. So anyway, that's it for this one. I think I've talked a very long time, and I just wanted to do this little video just to explain closure again, and just explain a little bit more on breaking up with one and how they don't give you closure, and just your feelings about that whole thing, after the breakup, and what you're going to go through, because you are going to be down for a bit, you know. But anyway, you will get better. Time does heal. Time does heal all wounds. Not all wounds. I don't think time heals all wounds, because there's some wounds you're going to always have. Certain losses in your life that you're going to carry forever. But with narcissists, no. Once you realize their issues, once you realize this dysfunction that they are, that they never loved you, that they never cared for you, that they just use you, they use everybody, that they're not worth a damn, you will be able to move on. So that's it for this one. And I will be back, whether it's going to be another part 3 about closure, or if I just talk about something different.